Hey Circle Gatherers, Miss White Wolf here. Happy New Year. It's New Year's Day and I'm about to make a batch of black salt. Black salt is usually, you can use a number of things to make black salt. You can use pepper and of course with sea salt. You could use black food coloring or black dye with salt, or you could use ash or coals from a fire with sea salt and herbs. Anyway, today I'm using the ash of my Yule log. Sorry, there's a bit of a shadow here. The ash of my Yule log, because I burnt that specifically for magical purposes. So I've collected some of the charcoal from my Yule log. This one, isn't it nice? You can tell it's from the log. And I'm using it for my black salt for protection purposes. So what I'm going to do, as you can tell, this is my cauldron. It's nothing fancy, but it's my working cauldron. It's what I burn in, it's what I mix in. It's a pan that I had that I think my daughter used it for something and she burnt on the bottom, and instead of throwing it out or giving it away, I figured this is a perfect thing for me to use as a working cauldron. Just if I want to burn things or if I want to mix things up that might potentially ruin or, you know, like dirty up a bowl or a pot. So I just kind of use it for this kind of thing. Last night I did a petition spell in it. So today I'm making black salt in it. And after I do this, I'm going to make a floor wash. So I've put in some of my ash, and I'm using a stone because I know that there's going to be coal all over this, or ash all over this, and I don't want to ruin anything and that I have in my kitchen, or even for my magical workings. I just don't want to, truthfully, I don't want to wash it afterwards. I can wash this stone pretty easily. Some, you know, like other things like a rolling pin or a mallet would be harder to get the ash off of it. So I'm going to try to get it as fine as I can. This could take some time, but that's all right. So I kind of break it down as finely as I can. And once I'm finished that, I'll put it back in my jar. I want to break all of this really because I want to be able to have this to use to make more. I'll put it back in my jar, and I'm going to use 1 part black salt, 1 part sea salt. Of course, this is sea salt that I have consecrated and charged specifically for magical workings. I have a big mason jar of it, I think it's in my dining room, that I had put out in the moon, and that's what I use for magical purposes. And I'm going to use 3 herbs, and they're kitchen herbs, easy to get and so easy to use for protection purposes. I've got rosemary, I've got thyme, and actually, sorry, I have patchouli, but you could use pepper. Pepper would be fine. Or even some basil. That could be used, I suppose. Anything, if you look under a protection herb, thyme's good, rosemary's good, yarrow would be good, fennel. So I'll use a tablespoon, or, you know, probably like a half of a part or a quarter. I'll be truthful. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, whatever feels good. This is my part. This is my measuring for parts. It's an oyster shell. I found it on the beach. As you know, I kind of pick things up where I find them and I use them. This is my magical tool for measuring. That's what I'm going to use this year. I've got a little bit of something on it. Actually, it was on my Yule log, so that's what I'm going to use for measuring purposes, especially for this, because it's going to be messy. Once it's finished, I'll bottle some in a mason jar, probably all of it. And, you know, it's a nice thing to use if you want to go around the perimeter of your property. You know, do it a few times a year, just for some oomph, some added protection along with your wards. If you have some property words on your property that you use, you're going to get some that are stubborn. This one, geez, I think this is the one that I showed you in the beginning. Let's just put that to the side for a minute. I might have to work at that a little bit. You can also use it if you feel negative energy around you. You could roll a candle in it. Put a sigil in your candle, or, you know, whatever. Do some spell work, roll your candle around in it. You could use it in a charm if you wanted, or a little charm bag. You can put it on the threshold of your home if somebody's just left that, oh my gosh. What's this? Somehow I had a paper clip in there. Anyway, if somebody has just left, you can sprinkle it along the threshold of your house and maybe like wait till they're gone. The sidewalk, if they have some where they would have walked off of your property, if they have left a bit of a negative vibe. So those are some things that you can use black salt for. And of course, it's really great when you can make your own. So I'm looking to kind of get it as fine as I can. This is good, but it's not quite where I want it to be. But that's okay. I'll keep working at it. Once I've finished this, I'm going to do a little magic over it. Set some intention. Then I'm going to bottle it up. I just thought I would show you how you can go ahead and do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be something that, you know, you think you could only buy from a store. You can do these things on your own. You know, even if you had some thorns, you could put some thorns in here, cut them up into fine pieces. Because thorns are great for protection. And I work a lot with thorns. If you did a petition spell, you could use the ash from that petition spell as well. And you could put it in here. Sorry, I know this is really loud. Anyhow, it's getting closer to where I want it to be. But I just wanted to kind of go on here and show you how to do it. So once you've done it, and once you've got your ash as fine as you want it to be, mix your salt in here. Put your herbs in here, or even, you know, if you had some if you had some tree branches that you wanted to, kind of like a yew tree maybe, if you wanted to use that, but be careful. Like, I think you have to be careful with some trees that you work with. Make sure you've done your research. Whatever you use, make sure that you've done your research. I know the things that I'm using, I've done my research on. If you look it up and you figure out what you want to use, like this would be for protection, obviously, what you have on hand, what's easy for you to get, what you want to use, just start doing it. It's not hard once you get started, and it feels really good to do this for yourself. This would have been something that cunning people might have done, you know, folk magicians. This is common for some people to do. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with doing things that make you feel good. That's what 2022 should be all about, doing the things that make you feel good. The hell what everybody else thinks. Just do the thing. Anyhow, thanks for joining me, and I hope everybody has a blessed new year, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.